Well, students, good evening to all of you. So, guys, today we will discuss the paper one. This is a exam preparation class of M.Ed third semester, right, guys? And you know that, we have the four theory papers, and three practicals in our M.Ed semester one. Correct? So, side by side, I have opened the PPT also. You can see that we have the four theory papers and three practical in our M.Ed semester third. Right, guys? Okay. The name of the papers are these four papers. Number first, specialization course one or school education course one. But you have to learn secondary and senior secondary education. Okay. School educations at secondary and senior secondary education. Specialization course 2, your third paper is advanced educational research, and fourth paper is teacher education. Okay, these four papers you have to give, and three practicals you have to give. The name of three practical files are internship paper 1, academic writing 2, and dissertation 3. So you all are aware of that, Hana. You are also made it and submitted, or some are making it, right, guys? So last time, if you remember, so we have discussed our fourth paper, teacher educations. Am I right? Fourth theory paper, because I'm conducting the theory classes first. So today we will discuss the paper 1, specialization course 1, right, guys? So today's class is paper 1, school education, right? And guys, it is also your exam preparation class, because I have made a notes of each and every content, okay, covering your whole syllabus. Number one. Number second, I have also solved the last year paper for your convenience. Okay. So this is a PDF file of notes. Okay. And I have already, given on my channel. Okay. And you can contact me if you need it. Right, guys? So today we are discussing the paper 1 school education. First, I will show you the syllabus, right? So this is our syllabus. Just see the syllabus. Okay. So now, I'm going to, zoom out so that it should be readable to all of you. So there are 4 units. You are aware of that, right? Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4. Okay. Just see that. Just read that. What is the, Unit 1? School education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. You have to learn need and importance and aims and objectives. Okay. Second, school education, secondary and senior secondary stage, you have to learn historical perspective and present status. Okay. Present status of school education at secondary level. Okay. When we talk about the school education, basically, school education means from first class to 12th class. This is called the school educations. Okay, guys. After that, higher education starts. Okay. But in this paper, we have to learn school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. So, guys, what is the secondary and senior secondary stage? Secondary, we call the classes of 9th and 10th. Okay. So, guys, this is your very informative paper. Okay. Last time we discussed the teacher education paper. You know that. That paper is also very informative. So in this semester, semester third, all the papers are, in fact, papers are not lengthy, but they are very informative. You can see the syllabus. Only 2 topics in the unit 1. In the unit 2, there is again of 2 topics. Okay. As compared to your semester 1 and semester 2. Well, there was a lot of syllabus in semester 1 and semester 2, but in the semester 3 is your specialization course, right? So these paper are, very informative paper. Okay. And in these paper, guys, the concept should be clear to you. Okay. Although I have given you the notes, you have the book, you have the guide. Okay. But I expect to all of you, concept should be clear. If I talk about the school education, already you should have in the mind, Lalit sir is talking about ninth class, 10th class, and +1 and +2, because you have to learn the school education at the secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. So here we have to talk about second way, we have to talk about historical perspective and present status. Kiska? School education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. Up now, unit 2 may just see that. Under the unit 2, okay, you have to tell about school education. What is the concept, need, and role of school? Okay, so this is a very simple, huh? And you have to talk about school education at the global school education at the global level. Means global perspective of the school education. Okay. Then uske baad, after that, fourth one is structure and management of a school education at secondary stage. You have to understand in each, okay, in each category. Because after M.Ed, you will become the teacher or principal. So you should have this knowledge. This knowledge is a very useful for you. Very useful for the teachers and principals. Okay. Like we discussed in the teacher education. Huh? What is the teacher education program? Okay. Who are called the pre-service teacher? Who are called the in-service teacher? Okay. What is the role of NCTE? Which is the apex body of the school education? Right. Then what are the problems in the school educations? Problems in the teacher educations? The paper we discussed. So similarly, in this paper, everything we have to talk about the school education at the secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. We have to talk about, this is the most important. We have to talk about, ये fourth question आया हुआ है, so we will discuss institutions, system, and structure of school education. You should have the knowledge of this, right? What is the structure of a school education? All things. Okay. Today we will discuss. Then again, see in a unit 3, it is talking about the curriculum at the secondary and senior secondary stage. So guys, have you thought that any of the time, okay, if you are a teaching, okay, giving coaching, or after the M.Ed you have to become the principal teachers, you have to teach. Okay, have you thought that which subject you are teaching to the student? What is the curriculum? What are the curricular activities? What are the extracurricular activities? Okay, on which field you have to give, more emphasis that, right? So these all things you should note that, right? Then uske baad, after that, school activities, curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities. Then under a unit 4, okay, you should know that methods of teaching. Okay, or you have in the mind, all traditional methods. Okay, are you aware of the project method, heuristic method, right? So there are so many methods have developed. Okay, and who developed this method? You should know that, and how you have to teach that. What are the steps of that? Because whatever the subjects you are teaching to the students, for example, 10 chapters you have to teach. Okay, all the 10 chapters you can't teach with the same method. Sometime you have to use the demonstration method, discussion method, laboratory method, lecture method, storytelling method. Okay, right? So you should have knowledge of that. So same thing, I'm repeating that, which I discussed in the last class. Kya tha? A student is never ever weak on this planet. Weak is always teacher or principal. Okay. He or she can be weak on behalf of teaching methodology. Might be she is not or he is not aware of, latest method of teaching, pedagogies. Okay. Student is never ever weak, guys. Okay. Whatever the, when we complained in the, mm, parents teacher meeting, okay, your child is weak and, other is weak. So these all are the excuses of the weak teachers. Trust me, okay, if you have the knowledge, you are teaching in the class, punctually, and you have the solid knowledge of the teaching methodology. So guys, your all students would get a very good marks. But problem is that what is happening in the India, okay, without doing a B.Ed or M.Ed, many teachers are teaching in the classes. So then the problem arises. Okay. If you see the B.Ed syllabus and M.Ed syllabus, ultimate hai. It makes you a perfect teacher. Perfect teacher. Right? देखो use of it, ICT in teaching. अब आप मुझे ये बताओ. Okay, if you don't have the knowledge of a computer, okay, so already this in the syllabus, ICT has come. And even I tell you, this is a, I think 3 or 4 years old syllabus. Or 5 year old syllabus. Okay, we are discussing that. Okay, the same thing it would come in the exam, but I'm telling you that now, after the ICT, techno-pedagogic competencies has come. Are you aware of TPAC? Techno-pedagogical content and knowledge. TPACK. So techno-pedagogical competencies. Now the teacher should not be ICT literate. Even the teacher or principal should be techno-pedagogical. She or he should have techno-pedagogical competencies. So guys, after 1 month, 2 months, there is a changes in the education sector also. That's why now I always say to my, students, after doing the B.Ed or M.Ed, basically your job starts, right? Because after that, you have to sharp your X, right? After B.Ed or M.Ed, you can go to the different seminars, different conferences in order to sharpen your skill. Otherwise, skill fade with the time. It fades with the time, right? अब आगे देखो, 8th is teaching aids. Okay, so ये देखो, need and significance of the teaching aids at the secondary and senior secondary stage. So there is a lot of significance of the teaching aids, right? When you are teaching to the student with the help of any audio visual aids, so it makes the learning permanent in the mind of the student, right? Then what are the duties and responsibilities of the teacher? Right? And in the last, the most important, okay, क्या है? What is the most important? ये देखिए, okay, I zoom out. क्या है? What it is written, and I underlined. Role of a teacher as a facilitator. Okay, don't think yourself you are a teacher. You are the persons who can dominate the class. You are the facilitator. You always work as a facilitator. Okay. And here in today's topic, in today's class, we will understand what is the, who are facilitators. Okay. And what are the duties of the facilitator? How facilitator helps to student, not as a teacher. Right, guys? So guys, these are very, informative, syllabus. Okay. And you are aware of that. Many of the topic, okay, we have already discussed in the last paper, teacher education. In the teacher education, the last class, you would be aware of that. We talk about ethical duties of the teachers. So same thing, here we some topics are repeating. Although M.Ed semester 3rd, all the 4 papers are very short papers, but very informative. Right, guys? So this is all about the syllabus. Okay. Now see the last year paper. This is the last year paper. You aware of that? 70 marks paper come out of 100. Right? Compulsory questions. It is a mandatory to all of you. And in all of the 4 units, out of 2, you have to attempt 1. Right, guys? So just we have a look of that. Write a short note on historical perspective of secondary and senior secondary education, right? So it has come from the syllabus unit 1, right? So always I say in the class, actually you should have, you have to learn your syllabus. Syllabus should be on your fingertips. Okay, if you know the syllabus now, so everything you have in the mind. So ab dekho, I know the syllabus. I know that this question has come from unit 1. Need and role of school. It has come from unit 2. In a unit 2, there is a school education. So I request to all of you, whenever you have to start learning, and most of the students, they have started the learning, okay? Because in the next month, after the 25th February, your exam can start. Okay, first learn your syllabus. What is in your syllabus? Then go with the notes and others. And third thing is important is that you have to write it. Do practice. So guys, this is our today's class is our exam preparation class also. Okay, that's why side by side I will tell you the tips. Okay, the most important things. Okay, you can this video would be uploaded on the YouTube. I will send you the link. Okay, or you can copy from there. You can watch my video. You can stop the video side by side. You can open my notes. Okay, you can see that what the sir is saying. Okay, from that way, if you prepare, then definitely you will get a very good marks. Right, guys? थर्ड देखो क्या है एक्स्ट्रा को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज ओके व्हाट आर द एक्स्ट्रा को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज यू शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ दैट और ये जो एक्स्ट्रा को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज हैं इट स्टार्ट्स इन दिस सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन because secondary education is a very important classes 9th 10th +1 +2 right because after that student has to lot of things the student has to think or student has in the mind he has to do the job okay and for the job you know how many skills he should be prepared okay have you thought that Malu, what we are doing that you know in you know schools okay we are focusing on the syllabus nothing else are we don't have to make the robot to the students after have you even thought after 10th or after +2 we all have done the you know 10th +2 graduation post graduation huh guys huh? We have already learned okay and after doing the B.Ed or M.Ed we have to teach to the classes okay but we should have in the mind so after 10th or after +2 when any of the student leaves the school what he is getting can you give me the 100% कि student will join the any of the job on the spot? There is a lot of gaps, guys. Okay, for the jobs, na syllabus or each and everything, na it comes under a academic. Okay, but you have to work being teacher, being principal on overall personality of the student, right? Harmonious development of the student when your student leaves the school he should be you know skilled with any of skill he should have any of the skill you know any other activities he should be developed physically he should be developed intellectually he should be socially developed he should be emotionally developed right so there should be a harmonious development right to only these things comes when we have give the time on the extra co-curricular activities side by side with the academic right now you are aware of that in you know many of the states Punjab Haryana Himachal or in the India many schools have opened they also with the same 50% they work on the academic 50% they work on the extra co-curricular activities even now at times you know parents are very educated okay when they admit the student in this school okay they admit in the school they also talk about there should be overall development of the student so we should be aware of that this is the reason B.Ed or M.Ed is must for teacher or principal and it has become mandatory okay अब now unit 1 में just see that last है use of ICT in teaching huh under a unit 1 the question comes aims and objective of a school education and secondary and senior secondary stage और नीचे आप देखिए थर्ड इज प्रेजेंट स्टेटस ऑफ सेकेंडरी एंड सीनियर सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन इन इंडिया तो यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट द स्टेटस ऑफ secondary education and senior secondary education means 9th class 10th class +1 or +2 what was the status of secondary education before independence and after independence okay because this is your specialization course of secondary education. Okay, secondary and senior secondary education. Okay, so you don't have to talk about plus class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to talk about ninth, 10th, plus 1, plus 2. Means up, you can check that in the last of every question, it is written secondary and senior secondary stage, or in the middle, it is written, right? Third and next, under the unit 2, the question is present the structure of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage in India. All right. So here you should know that what is the structure of secondary and senior secondary stage in India. Well, here you should know about what is the role of a central government, what is the role of a state government, what is the role of a local bodies. Okay. Then second, you should be aware of that, regulatory bodies of this secondary and senior secondary education. Third, you should be aware of that various schemes started by the government. Okay, so these all things we will discuss here. And fifth one is global perspective of school education. So now guys, we already say that now ki bhai, whole of the world is becoming like a village. Most of time we say that there is an impact of globalizations. Then this question arises, are we preparing the student up to the, global perspective, at the global perspective level? Whatever the educations we are giving to the student, this education matches with the global perspective. So this thing we have to say, okay, we should have the knowledge of that. And you are aware of that, after so many years, new education policy comes. After 96, policy revised in 1992. And after that, new education policy came in 2020. After how many years? You can say that, around, 25 years. But 23, 25, nahin, zyada hai. In fact, 86 mein aayi to 14 into after 35 years. Even in the education, there is a changes, lot of changes are going on. So no, education policy comes on after every 3 years, after every 2 years, yeah, maximum up to the 5 years. But up, think that, the policy comes in India after around 30 years or 35 years. Okay. The last policy came in 1986, then revised in 1992, and then came in 2020. तो 20 साल ये हो गए और 8 साल वो, 28 साल। 28 साल के बाद कोई पॉलिसी अगर आ रही है इंडिया के अंदर, तो यू कैन इमेजिन दैट स्टेटस ऑफ एजुकेशन सिस्टम। ओके, so this is a very good new education policy. You are already aware of that in the last, we discussed also last to last semester में, ठीक है। अब now coming back on this paper 1, school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Unit 3 is discuss curriculum and critical analysis of curriculum at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. Then after that, co-curricular activities, discuss their need and importance in school education. And next is what are teaching aids? Explain the types, need and significance of teaching aids. And last may role of a teacher as a facilitator. Right, guys? So basically, general view hame mil gaya hai na? You have got the general view. What is the syllabus? What is the last year paper? And what the examiner can ask. Okay. So if you learn the, this last year paper, so I think it is covering your whole topic of, the syllabus, the whole topic of the syllabus. Okay. So what we do side by side, guys, we open the our notes, and side by side we open the syllabus, so that we will come to know it has covered. Okay, so now I'm going to open the second file. This is a notes file which I have shared with you. So today we will discuss it. So this is a our PDF file. Okay, PDF file of paper 1, specialization course or course school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Right. So I start my lecture with school education. Okay, with the school education. I'll start from here. Okay. First, school education. Okay. So guys, what is school education basically? Right. School education at secondary and senior secondary state or historical perspective and present status. Okay. Here we have to discuss school education, but at a secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. ये देखिए, the secondary education plays an important part in shaping the future of the individual, in leading them towards the right direction. This is the most important, section, most important classes, 9th, 10th, +1, +2, right? So here, you have to talk about understanding the secondary education system. So basically, we are here discussing means here I will discuss in brief. Okay, rest of the part because you have to learn. Okay, the concept should be cleared. My purpose is to clear your concept and clear all the syllabus and give the brief descriptions of each and everything. Okay, and detailed notes I have shared with you. Right? So here we will discuss the brief of each and every part. The rest of the sections you have to learn. Okay. So here you have to talk about, and the important things which you have to learn it, I have bold. Okay. The line I have bolded and I have underlined. Right, guys? So I tell you the best way. You can side by side open my notes and, start my video also. Okay. And both things you can match that. Okay. Just say, for example, I'm talking about secondary education system. Okay. So here, understanding the secondary education system, so this thing you should be aware of that. For example, after the country achieved its independence, 1947, there are appointments of the many commissions. So here you have to talk about the secondary commissions, right? So first kya tha? First Tarachand Committee, which established in 1948. What he suggested? The multi-purpose type of a secondary school without discouraging the unipurpose school. After that, first Education Commission, which was formed by S. Radhakrishnan in 48-49. He talked about the secondary education and he said that, ye dekhiye, there is a need to bring about improvement in the secondary education. So guys, side by side now, you should have knowledge what was happening basically till today. After the independence, we were giving more importance to the primary education, right? UEE, universalizations of elementary education. Okay. So basically, very less care was given to the secondary education. Okay. But actually, it plays a very important role. Right? फिर देखिए क्या हुआ, what happened? फिर then, another commission appointed by government of India in 1952. You all are aware of that. ये क्या था? The chairman of this commission was Mudaliar Commission. Mudaliar Commission, है ना? इसने भी he presented the report to the government of India regarding the secondary education, improvement of the secondary education. Okay, same like the Kothari Education Commission, 1964-66. He also talked about the secondary educations. Okay, अब again we have to understand about, in this paper now we have to understand about everything about the secondary and senior secondary stage, education at the secondary stage and senior secondary stage. Okay, so we should know about the historical perspective of secondary education, means before 1947 and after 1947, means after freedom. What was the status? Okay, then we will talk about what are the effects, what are the defects in the secondary education system. Then we will discuss what should be the curriculum. Then we should have the knowledge of co-curricular activities, why they are important for the secondary and senior secondary stage. And in last, we will discuss the method of teaching, then teaching aids, and the role of a teacher as a facilitator. Okay, ये आपका syllabus है बस. So from that way, you have to learn. Right? ये नहीं एकदम से उसको खोला and you start learning. Right? So you should have the knowledge of that. What you are going to learn. Okay. After that, what the step would come. Right? So in this paper, okay, just I have discussed with you. First of all, you should have the historical perspective knowledge of secondary and senior secondary stage before 1947 and after 1947, right? Then need importance of the school education, then global perspective of the school education, then you should have the knowledge of structural, institutional structure of secondary and senior secondary stage, right? Then you have to talk about curriculum, then you have to talk about curricular activities, then method of teaching, ICT in teaching, and teaching aids, and in the last, role of a teacher as a facilitator. Okay, from that way you have to learn, right, guys? And in today's lecture, in that way I will teach you, right? I'll clear the concept. So under the development of a secondary education in India, तो ये देखो, you have to talk about, okay, first क्या हुआ था, basically the talk of secondary education started as early as 1830 AD. The authority decided to give English education to the Indians in order to the quality them to take a large share in the civil administration of their country. You are aware of the Macaulay Minute, Hana? He introduced the English as a language, this language for the civil administration. Okay. Then Lord William Bentinck, government issued a communique where it was stated that the great object of the British government ought to be promotion of European literature and science. Yes. So here Lord William Bentinck थे, जो गवर्नर जनरल थे, है ना, ड्यूरिंग द ब्रिटिश time before independence. Okay, so he talked and emphasized that introductions of European literature and science. Okay, then in 1837 English was made the court language. Okay, then Wood Dispatch Commissions came in 1854. He talked about the beginning of a new era in the education system of India and gave a further stimulus to the cause of secondary education, right? Then kya hua after that? Establishment of the university in Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in 1857. Okay, these are the first university. You should be aware of that, right? So इन्होंने भी consequences on the content range and scope of secondary education. Then उसके बाद Hunter commissions came. Means the questions comes now, historical perspective of secondary and senior secondary stage. So you have to talk about, before independence, what was the status of secondary and senior secondary education, and after independence. Okay. Then Hunter commissions came in 1882. He studied the problem and positions of secondary education of those days and suggested for the first time he diversified the courses of instructional at the secondary level. Then क्या हुआ, guys? The growth of it. ये देखो, I have underlined these lines. So you have to learn it. So from how you will come to know that this, you have to learn it. When you will open my video also along with the notes. Okay. The link you can get from the YouTube. Okay. So क्या हुआ? What happened? The growth of a secondary education was very remarkable in the period intervening 1882 to 1902. The number of schools increased from 3917 to 5124, and enrollment of the student increased from this one to this. So ये figure आपको you have to learn. Okay, this figure. That's why now I have underlined. Okay, under the questions of historical perspective of secondary and senior secondary stage and the current status of a secondary education. Okay. Then what happened? Act आया एक. It was the Indian University Act 1904, which empowered universities to formulate necessary rules and regulations for exercise of a control and the grant of a recognition in the respective of each high school. High school मतलब 10th school, है ना? Then guys, you have to talk about, next is Sadler commissions आया. Okay, he also talked about the secondary educations, right? Then after that, अब देखो क्या हो गया. Okay, बीच में एक दो और हैं. Okay, you have to learn it. Okay, then until the country achieved its independence in 1947, there were important recommendations that were made by the different committees and commissions in the year of 1947-48, there were rapid expansion made in secondary education. Okay, because after the independence now, so many commissions talk about the secondary educations. Okay, when we got the freedom, अब देखिए क्या हुआ. अब in the after that 1948, the number of the school increased. वो last figure say you have to remember. That's why I have underlined 12,693 with an enrollment of ये देखिए 29,53,995 students. Where is 1960? ये देखो कंपेयर भी किया हुआ है 1960 और 1917 में बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस नंबर ऑफ स्कूल वर हियर एंड स्टूडेंट्स वर ओनली देयर, राइट? So you have to talk about this paper, this questions of historical perspective of a secondary education and senior secondary stage. You have to talk about condition of status of secondary education before independence and after independence. Okay, guys. Then, अब इसके साथ ही, okay, along with this question arises, and examiner can also ask from you, what is the need and importance of secondary education? What is the need and importance of school education at secondary and senior secondary stage? Okay, so although it is a simple, right? So, it creates, it facilitates the higher educational opportunities. Okay, means when we train, when we give more focus on the secondary education and senior secondary education, when we talk about, when we give time for the extracurricular activities among the students, so guys, this will open the doors of higher educational opportunities for the students. Got it? So yahan par bhi there is a no, you cannot find any student is weak. The weak is school, the weak is teachers, the weak is principal, weak is our curriculum, weak is our educational policies. Okay, are you getting my point? Got it? So need and importance of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. So it opens a higher educational opportunities. Improved critical thinking skills. देखो कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है. आप मुझे ये बताएं, what is the purpose of school? The purpose of a school to develop these skills. Okay. So are you agree with me? All the teachers in the India, they are working on that. How they will improve that? Because they are not updated with these things. And you have seen that, many teachers come in the class and, they start immediately. Guys, I'm this. Today, we will discuss this topic in detail. Directly, they are telling about the topic name. You have seen that. Many teachers. So guys, I'm talking about for those teachers who comes in the class and start the topic directly in the front of the students. Those teachers are responsible for killing the reasoning power of the student as well as, killing the critical thinking skill of the students. Now the psychology is saying that, many research papers are saying that if you teach like that way, how comes in the class and start directly about the, first of all, wishes to the student. And today we will discuss this topic in detail. Okay, when you start this way now, so you are the responsible for killing the reasoning power of the student. You are the persons who has become obstacle in the way of student in order to improve the critical thinking skills. Okay, you should know how to stimulate the student, how to stimulate the, reasoning power of the student, how to stimulate the critical thinking skill of the students. Guys, everything is in the mind of the student when the baby born. This is the duty of the teachers and the parents to arouse these things. I'm focusing on the teacher and principal because of that. Around 7 or 8 hours, students spends the time in the school. And majority wise, Majorly, this is the responsibility of the schools. तो दिस पेपर में हमें यही तो करना है. इस पेपर में ये भी तो है ना, what are the curriculums, what are the risks in the curriculum, evaluate critically the curriculum. So these things you should be aware of that. Only then you can become an effective teacher and effective principal. Because what is our work? Our work is, sharpen our skills, nothing else. Actually, we have to work on our professional development every day. After doing a B.Ed or M.Ed, we shouldn't think that, our job is finished. Actually, our job starts. Then every day we have to update ourselves with the new technologies, new methods. Okay, going to attend different conferences, seminars, send the teachers. Okay, and call the guest lectures in the schools. Right, guys? So better communication skills, need and importance, increase self-confidence, better health, enhanced knowledge and skills, personal growth and development, improved socio-economic status, social and emotional development, और civic engagement, economic growth. तो ये देख लो, ये सारे के सारे क्या हैं? These are the need and importance of school education and the secondary and senior secondary stage. We are doing B.Ed M.Ed, it is okay, but actually we should know now for which purpose we are doing the B.Ed or M.Ed. What is actually our duty? Yeah, our duty would start after B.Ed or M.Ed when we will appoint as a teacher or principal. So these part you have to work. Ask from the teachers, okay? They are working on these higher educational opportunities. Okay, they are working on improved critical thinking skills, better communication skills, increase self-confidence, okay, better health, enhanced knowledge and skills, personal growth and development, improve socio-economic status, social and emotional development. So I think, sometime now I have in the mind, every school should have the data. Ki after 10th or after +2, how many students have selected in the different companies on different positions they have reached. And only then we can work na, or only for the improvement of the schools. Then only work. Guys, you know that now, every day, new and new schools are opening. With the, you can say that the new things, new devices, new technologies. Now you have seen in the newspapers and others, okay, this school has opened. They are working on the extra co-curricular activities. These all things, right? And then, next is aims of a secondary education. So I think, it is clear, aim of secondary education, because we have already talked about about the secondary educations, right? So now we discuss our last year paper. So side by side, we open our last year paper. Okay, so this is our last year paper. School education at secondary and senior secondary stage. So I'm starting from the unit 1, questions number 2. Okay, guys, because these short questions now, it would cover under the long answer. Okay. So first I'm discussing, write the aims and objective of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. And second is present status of secondary and senior secondary educations. Okay. So, these two questions I have colored as a red. Okay. The moment we will finish all our questions. Okay. So, same after that, I'll colored as a red. Okay. So that in last, we will come to know all questions we have discussed and syllabus, right? So first two questions we discussed, starting from present status and, perspective of historical perspective. Okay, first the aims and objective of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay. So already, here it, first of all, it is defined. Okay, 9th, 10th, +1, +2. 9th, 10th we call as a secondary stage, +1, +2 we call as a senior secondary stage. So what should be the aims and objective of a school education at the secondary and senior secondary stage? Okay, development of a democratic citizenship, improvement of a vocational efficiency, development of personality, development of a qualities for leadership. Okay, we're talking about aims and objectives. Okay, so under these questions, the question was aims and objectives of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay, here you can talk about the Secondary Education Commission. Okay, which was given by the chairman of the commission was Mudaliar. है ना, who was a VC of the Madras University. So he talked about, ये देखिए, he talked about secondary education. What he talked about, ये 5-6 points लिखे हुए हैं, ठीक है? Bring all round development, train the young mass of the country to promote social virtues, intellectual development, character building. Okay, then you can also discuss in these questions aims and objectives of Kothari Commission regarding secondary education. Okay, see, same things we have done in the last paper, teacher education. But we have to think that under a teacher education, we also talk about these commission, but what these commission talked about the teacher education, Hana, if you remember. So under the school education and secondary and senior secondary stage, so we can mention the commissions at the what they have talked about secondary and senior secondary stage. Okay, guys. So from that way, guys, when you will learn by correlating the subjects, then, it will make a very good, connections, or it will always, it would be in your mind. The concept would be clear. When the concept would be clear, I'm sure that your hand will not hesitate over there by filling the 7 pages within a 30 minutes. Right? Because when the concept is not clear, so then what happens? You are unable to fill the pages. So that wise you get a, less marks. Okay. Even because this is also exam preparation class, I will advise to all of you, even, prepare yourself on, you have to give focus on writing part also. Okay. Up now, understanding part is okay. But remember that this understanding is in your mind. Okay. But you have to write with your hand also. You have to train to your hand also. You have to fill the 7 pages within a half an hour and the 40 pages within a 3 hours. This is also important. Okay. And it can do. Okay. ऐसा नहीं है कि बड़ा मुश्किल है. हो सकता है हमने भी किया था. 20 years back, I finished my 23 years back. I'm a student of B.Ed in the session of 2000 and 2001. I did my B.Ed from DM College Moga. Right, guys? So M.Ed from under a, Freethcourt College. Right? So हमने भी किया था on that time also. Right, guys? So this thing you have to do that. Right? So then uske baad, you can talk about what the NPE 1986 talk about the secondary educations. Okay. And then after that, we can sum up the, ये देखिए, ठीक है, वो सारे के सारे, what the Secondary Education Commission talk about the secondary education, what the Kothari Commission talk about the secondary education, what the NPE talk about the secondary education, सारों को हमने sum up कर दिया, right? हमारा question यही था, what is a secondary education, aims and objectives of a secondary education. Okay, तो generally हमने सारा बता दिए, and according to that, all the commissions talk about the secondary educations we have mentioned. Guys, this paper is an informative paper. If the concept is in your mind, you can write that. Okay, because you can see that the question he is asking, elaborate this concept, elaborate globalization's global perspective of education, explain the present status of secondary education, right? And second is explain the present status of a secondary and senior secondary educations, है ना? ये अभी हमने discuss कर लिया, वो school education at the secondary and senior secondary stage, ठीक है ना? Before independence and after independence. ओके, वो सारी चीजें इसके अंदर आपने लिखनी है, राइट? ये देखो, ये सारा कमीशंस, प्रेजेंट स्टेटस, ये देखो एवरीथिंग, राइट? 12th year plan, then problems, then you talk about the problems of a secondary education. Okay, then various schemes also started by the government, okay, for the secondary education. RAMSA, RMSA, you should be aware of that. RAMSA, you should know, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, because he takes care of all the how many secondary school has to open in the state. Okay, what is the eligibility criteria of the teacher to teach to the 9th 10th +1 +2 class, and they should be B.Ed or M.Ed. Okay, so ये सारा का सारा that comes under a RMSA, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan. Like the SSA is for the elementary education, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Similarly, RMSA is for the secondary educations. Okay, national schemes for the girls, inclusive education for disabled at the secondary stage. You should be aware of that, guys. If any of the disabled candidate comes in the class, the responsibility of the school to provide each and everything to the disabled person. Okay, these are called the special students. Okay, who are visually impaired or physically handicapped and others. Okay, so you should be aware of that. Every scheme. So ye sara you have to mention under this questions. Okay, okay. So we open the syllabus. We open the last year paper. So these questions we have discussed. Aims and objective of a school education. Okay, present status. So fourth question, present structure of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage in India. तो ये आपको होना चाहिए, है ना? इसी पे आई एम फोकसिंग ऑन दैट, है ना? एम्फसाइजिंग दैट यू शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ दैट. ओके, ये एक्चुअली आपका you can see in the syllabus also. Later on we'll see in the syllabus. Okay, first we talk about rest of the questions. ये देखिए, present structure of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage in India. मतलब structure क्या है secondary educations का? मतलब what is the role of a central government, state government, local bodies? Okay, then after that you have to talk about what are the regulatory commissions, who is controlling the secondary education and senior secondary education and the various schemes. Okay, so बड़ा informative है, interesting है guys. Okay, तो आपने 2-3 headings बनाने हैं. First of all, under this questions you have to make the heading institutional level of structure of secondary and senior secondary level. Okay, under this you have to make a 3 subheading: central level, state level and local bodies. Okay, so under a central level you should know that कि central level में क्या है, there is a one ministry, है ना? Many times we have discussed. Okay, earlier the name was MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource and Development. Now it has renamed as a Ministry of Education. Okay, एक education minister होता है, right, in the central level. Okay, and under this there is a one department, this is called Ministry of Educations. Okay, so after that क्या होता है, the ministry, that ministry is headed by the cabinet minister. उसके अंडर cabinet minister होते हैं. Okay, the ministry is headed by the cabinet minister called the education minister, but followed the 2 state minister. उसके अंडर फिर कई ministers आ जाते हैं, right? And last talk about the CAB. Okay, तो CAB क्या है, ये देखो यहाँ लिखा हुआ है. CAB is also talk about all the controlling and other things. Okay, so we understand the state government. Okay, the same we will understand in the central also. Okay, actually I have highlighted in the state government. Okay, इसको पढ़ते हैं. The same thing you have to talk about in the central level, right? ये देखिए क्या होता है under the state government. The state government have a separate minister for education. The Ministry of Education of a particular state consists of a cabinet minister followed by the state minister. Okay, there may be a separate minister of different sectors of education, such as higher education, technical education. The ministers are of the state legislative assembly. Under each minister of education functions as a number of secretariats. The minister formulates direct execution and supervise implementations of education policies. The structures of a school education at the state level is as follows. Okay, at the state level. Yes, guys. From here, this is the important. Okay, यहाँ से आपको important कर दीजिए. Okay, you can stop my video and you can note that. From here you will understand. I have underlined it. क्या होता है? What is the structure of education at the state level? In the state level, there is a one minister, okay, called the education minister. He is at the top of the school education structure. ये देखिए, he is at the top of the school education structure, education minister, right? Under him is the secretariat. The administrative head of secretary is the secretary and IAS officer who is directly to the answerable to the Ministry for Policy Making and its executions at the school level. अब क्या होता है, मिनिस्टर होता है जिसको हम बोलते हैं जनरली वी कॉल एज ए एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर. ओके, एक एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर होता है. अंडर दिस एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर के अंदर देयर इज ए सेक्रेटरी. दिस इज कॉल्ड द होम सेक्रेटरी एजुकेशन. ओके, सारी की सारी होल ऑफ द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफ एजुकेशन, राइट, उसके अंडर होती है। और वो पर्सन, ही इज आईएएस ऑफिसर, ही कम्स फ्रॉम आईएएस cadre, right? He gives reports to the education minister. Okay, and he is that person is secretary, right? Home secretary education, same central level पे होता है, right? I repeat again, one minister, this is called the education minister. Under the education minister, there is a one secretary. Generally, it is called home secretary. Home secretary education. Okay. Thara administrative of education that comes under that person. He is answerable to the education minister. कौन? वो होम सेक्रेटरी एजुकेशन. अंडर द होम सेक्रेटरी ऑफ एजुकेशन, ये देखिए, ही इज असिस्टेड बाय ज्वाइंट और डेप्टी सेक्रेटरी. अब उसके अंडर, होम सेक्रेटरी एजुकेशन के अंडर, देयर इज ए ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी एंड डेप्टी सेक्रेटरी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, स्कूल में प्रिंसिपल, प्रिंसिपल के अंडर टीचर्स. ओके, सो state also have a directorate of education for different sectors of education like elementary, और उनके अंडर डायरेक्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन होता है. ओके, ये सारे के सारे guys, you should be aware of that, they sit in the secretariat of any of the state. When we talk about the पंजाब, पंजाब की सेक्रेटरीट कहां पे है? चंडीगढ़ में, कैपिटल में, राइट? तो इन secretariat में these all ministers, they sit in the secretariat. State also have a director of education for different sectors of education like elementary, secondary and higher education. The director is executive head of the directorate, and the director is assisted by the joint directors, assistant director and deputy directors. तो सेम वही लूप है. ओके, सो मैं इसको सिंपल करता हूं, ठीक है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर, राइट? अंडर द एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर इज ए होम सेक्रेटरी एजुकेशन, which is responsible to whole education, right, and answerable to the education minister. तो under the home secretary education, okay, वो basically IAS officer होता है, right, जो IAS करके जाते हैं through the UPSC, right? Under this, joint secretary and the deputy secretary. Okay, तो state, अब ये देखो लिखा हुआ है, state में there is a directorate of educations, उसको डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन बोलते हैं हम. ओके, तो डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन, एलिमेंट्री का अलग, सेकेंडरी का अलग, हायर एजुकेशन का अलग होगा. और सिमिलरली, द डायरेक्टर इज द एग्जीक्यूटिव हेड ऑफ द डायरेक्टरेट, एंड डायरेक्टर इज असिस्टेड बाय द ज्वाइंट डायरेक्टर्स, असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर एंड डिप्टी डायरेक्टर. तो दिस थिंग यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट अंडर द इंस्टीट्यूशनल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन. Okay, at the central level, at the state level. Okay, the same method hai, right? Third is local bodies. Local bodies easy hai. Local bodies में क्या है? Easy तो वो भी है, you should be know that, है ना? You should have the knowledge of that. We top the education minister, then secretary education, okay, then joint directors and deputy directors. उसके नीचे director of educations, okay. तो फिर उसके बाद फिर प्रिंसिपल्स आते हैं और फिर टीचर्स आते हैं, राइट? दिस इज ए हायरार्की, राइट? एंड अंडर द लोकल बॉडीज, स्कूल एट द एलिमेंट्री लेवल एंड समटाइम्स एट सेकेंडरी लेवल आर आल्सो बीइंग मैनेज्ड बाय वेरियस लोकल बॉडीज, है ना? म्युनिसिपल बोर्ड, डिस्ट्रिक्ट बॉडीज, जिला पंचायत एंड विलेज पंचायत, है ना? अंडर द लोकल बॉडीज मैनेज्ड बाय, बिकॉज दे आर द मैनेजमेंट बेसिकली. ओके, और प्राइवेट में हम आगे बात करेंगे, ये प्राइवेट की बात आ गई. Okay, earlier I was talking about all the government policies. Okay, अब types of a management of school. Management का तो आपको clear ही है, right? There are a lot of managements, है ना? They are running their schools, right? तो वो management है, कोई lot of management like SGPC management, है ना? DAV management, you can say the Catholic management, है ना? Convent schools, they are running that. Okay, so there are so many management, they are also running the schools, but they follow the same criteria, right, by the regulatory commissions. अब ये आ गया रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज फॉर सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन. ओके, अब ये देखो रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज क्या होती है? एनसीईआरटी, है ना? वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, है ना, दीज पॉइंट्स. एससीईआरटी, सेंट्रल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एजुकेशनल टेक्नोलॉजी, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग, है ना, ओपन स्कूलिंग में भी स्टूडेंट कैन अप्लाई फॉर दैट क्लास 10th एंड +2, है ना, हु इज कैन डू द मैथ्स एंड साइंस। केंद्रीय विद्यालय संगठन, नवोदय विद्यालय, ये सारी रेगुलेटरी बॉडी है। सीबीएसई, although schools are run by the private management, but they have to follow each and everything by the regulatory bodies, right? The same like the government schools are following, right? State board of education, right? अच्छा, उसके बाद the third you have to make heading of scheme for secondary and senior secondary educations. So under these schemes you have to talk about all the schemes beneficials for the secondary education and senior secondary education, means basically for the student of senior secondary education and senior secondary education, 9th 10th +1 +2, right? तो ये सारी स्कीम्स हैं गाइस, रमसा, है ना, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड। फिर उसके बाद समग्र शिक्षा, ओके, देन ये भी स्टार्ट हुआ था 2018 और 19 के अंदर, राइट? इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन ऑफ द डिसेबल्ड एट द सेकेंडरी स्टेज, ये देखो बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट? मतलब आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस ना, वी आर आल्सो इग्नोरिंग द यू कैन से दैट द डिसेबल्ड पर्संस आल्सो, है ना। इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन हमने एक टॉपिक किया था, यू नो दैट, है ना। इंक्लूसिव, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ इंक्लूसिव? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ इंक्लूसिव? इंक्लूसिव मीन्स वेयर under a one roof when normal student and the disabled student, physically handicapped, visually impaired students, they both are learning under a one roof. This class is called the inclusive class, right? We cannot say that कि भाई that particular student, है ना, he is not understanding well, his IQ is less, okay, he cannot compare with the class, so we have a separate class for this. No, this is not a duty of teacher or school, okay? Even school has to appoint the special teacher for that student also, right? So under these schemes, okay, talking about the rights of the disabled persons, ओके, ये देखो उनके एक्ट भी बन चुके हैं, पर्सनल विद डिसेबिलिटी एक्ट, नेशनल ट्रस्ट एक्ट 1919, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड दिस स्कीम्स, ओके। देन वोकेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन, स्कीम ऑफ आईसीटी एंड स्कूल, स्कीम फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग क्वालिटी एजुकेशन फॉर मदरसा, है ना, मुस्लिम्स के जो होते हैं इनके, एकलव्य मॉडल रेजिडेंशियल स्कूल्स। तो गाइज ये हमारा फोर्थ क्वेश्चन भी खत्म हो गया, राइट? स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन, ये देखिए, व्हेन द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन ना, दिस क्वेश्चन कम्स ना, प्रेजेंट द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन एंड सेकेंडरी एंड सीनियर सेकेंडरी स्टेज इन इंडिया, स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन, देन यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट फर्स्ट, make the heading institutional structure. Under this you have to talk about central, state and local bodies. Then you have to talk about various regulatory bodies, okay, who is managing 9th 10th +1 +2 class. Then you have to talk about the various schemes, okay? तो ये सारे headings बना के it talks about structure of a school education at secondary and senior secondary stage, okay? अब नेक्स्ट देखो, फिफ्थ वन, ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एजुकेशन, राइट? तो ये देखिए, और ये ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव, करिकुलम और करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज, ये हम इकट्ठा ही कर लेते हैं, राइट? ये तीनों क्वेश्चंस हमारे हो जाएंगे, राइट? तो यहाँ पे आई एम ऑप्टिंग द साइड बाय साइड नोट्स आल्सो, ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन, ओके। तो गाइस, ग्लोबल इंटरकनेक्टेडनेस इज बिकमिंग द रूल रादर देन द एक्सेप्शन, एंड एजुकेशन मस्ट चेंज टू रिफ्लेक्ट दिस शिफ्टिंग एनवायरमेंट. It is impossible to overestimate the value of a global perspective in education. It is a crucial to make sure that students have a comprehensive awareness of the globe as a boundaries erode and cultural merge. तो हमें, it talks about the, all the things that is useful for the global educations. ये देखिए, here are the some key benefits of a global educations are: design and technology, evergreen skill, futuristic subject, new age pedagogies and curriculum, a supporting hand. अब a global perspective in education is not just academic, but it also includes a comprehensive and holistic development of a student under its umbrella. Aims of education in global perspective of a school education. And then, importance of a global perspective of a school education. ओके, हाँ ये आ गया, दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट। अब देखिए, ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एजुकेशन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम हियर। ओके, द ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ ए स्कूल एजुकेशन फैसिलिटेट्स, means when we make our school as a global perspective, with global perspective, then what would happen? And it should be, right? Kya hoga? What would happen? Promoting cultural understanding. Okay, so every kind of a person, okay, they are studying from the schools. Cultural understanding, we should have a cultural understanding. We have to give, uh, you can say that the uh, to other culture also, Hana, we have to talk about, we have to give respect to the other culture, right? So this is called cultural understanding. Then fostering critical skills, building language skills, then addressing global challenges, understanding climate change, taking health pandemics, promoting universal human rights, broadening horizons and enriching learning, building empathy and social skills. तो गाइस आज की डेट में दिस थिंग इज डिमांडिंग, राइट। ये डिमांड हो रहा है। ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एजुकेशन का क्या मतलब है? यू नो अंडर दिस टॉपिक, अंडर दिस क्वेश्चंस, आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एजुकेशन। ओके, तो ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एजुकेशन, इफ वी हैव टू गिव टू द स्टूडेंट्स, तो वी हैव टू वर्क ऑन दीज: promoting cultural understanding, fostering critical skills, building language skills, addressing global challenges, understanding climate change, tackling health pandemics, promoting universal human rights, right? Broadening horizons and enriching learning, right? How it happened when we, send our students to the abroad, national understanding, international understandings, Hana, only then it would be developed now, and it is happening. Okay, next curriculum. Discuss the curriculum and critical analysis of the curriculum at the secondary level or senior secondary level. Okay. So curriculum, guys, you know that we have discussed that, Hana, course of studies. Okay. So here under these questions, we have to talk about what are the problems of our curriculum at the secondary level and senior secondary level. So it is a very easy, you can learn it. Okay. The main topics I have discussed with you. Okay. So ye to already we have discussed many times, right? Curriculums, what are the defects of the curriculums? Okay. Then next question is, what are the co-curricular activities? Okay, discuss their need and importance of co-curricular activities in school education. ये भी बड़ा simple है. You can talk about, है ना? You can discuss, you can see that. Okay, I think there is a no major topic or difficult topic to understand, to brief. You all are aware of the co-curricular activities. We have discussed many times. Okay, हमें we have to talk about co-curricular activities, need and importance of the co-curricular activities at the school level, राइट? ये देखो, नीड एंड इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ए को-करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज इन द स्कूल एजुकेशन। तो बहुत बढ़िया नोट्स बने हुए हैं। को-करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज की नीड और इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है? इट बिल्ड्स द सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस एंड सेल्फ स्टीम, इंप्रूव मेमोरी पावर, डेवलप सोशल स्किल, बूस्ट कॉन्फिडेंस, कम्युनिकेशन, टीम वर्क, डेवलप स्पेशलाइज्ड स्किल फॉर co-curricular activities, exposure to new activities, builds a sense of responsibility, greater and increased opportunities, develop mental and physical health, है ना? ये सारा का सारा co-curricular activities है, you are aware of that. Okay, next आ गया, what are the teaching aid? तो ये भी बड़ा सिंपल है। टीचिंग एड क्या होती है? ऑडियो एड्स होती हैं, विजुअल एड्स होती हैं, ऑडियो विजुअल एड्स होती हैं। ओके, उसकी आपको टाइप्स की बात करनी है, नीड एंड सिग्निफिकेंस की बात करनी है, ठीक है? टीचिंग एड्स की व्हाट आर द ये देखो, नीड एंड सिग्निफिकेंस, इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ए टीचिंग एड। तो व्हेन यू आर टीचिंग टू द स्टूडेंट विद द हेल्प ऑफ ए टीचिंग एड, तो क्या हो रहा है? व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? क्लियर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, राइट? मेक टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस इंटरेस्टिंग, teach the student with the aids also. You can use the help of the computer also. Okay, you have the projector, you have the smart board also, right guys? So from that way, when we will teach to the student, now the learning would become the permanent in the mind of the student. Expand teaching skills, habit of study, save time, provide experience, develop motor skills. ये सारा need and significance of teaching aids है. Increase attention span. अब you are teaching to the student, or student is not showing the interest in your class. So basically the problem is in you, not in the student. Okay, because you don't know how to attract the attention of the student, how to engage the student busy. So here we are talking about the need and significance and importance of the teaching aids. Right, guys? ये देखो significance फिर आ गया ये सारा, right? All about, right? Okay. And in the last, the question was, elaborate the role of a teacher as a facilitator. Yes, ये important है बड़ा, right? तो ये हम डिस्कस करते हैं. ये देखा हमारे टीचिंग एड्स, ये 8th क्वेश्चंस भी हो गया और ये 9th वन भी अब वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस, राइट गाइस? इलेबोरेट टीचर एज ए फैसिलिटेटर. देखो उसने ये कह दिया एग्जामिनर ने इलेबोरेट, तो अब देखो क्या है, व्हाट अब इट इज रिटन ना. ओके, मतलब आफ्टर लर्निंग दैट, इफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द मीनिंग ऑफ टीचर एज ए फैसिलिटेटर, तो गाइस यू कैन राइट with your own way, right, in the answer sheet, right? Because examiner is asking from elaborate the concept. So persons can elaborate from that way also if the concept is clear to you, right? Or mostly you have seen that in the papers, even teacher education paper maybe last we have discussed, right? So facilitator क्या होता है? Okay, so you have to become a facilitator, not as a teacher, right? A facilitator of learning is a teacher who promotes assistance, guidance, and assures support to the students in their learning process, right? The educator strengthens their knowledge and understanding of a several subject. In addition, this form of teaching helps the student in finding answer to various questions by letting them form an opinion, work on self-exploration, etc. Further, a facilitator is a person who assists a group of a people in grasping at their common targets and in achieving them without any intervention of his behalf or her behalf. Means when you are working now, you have to taking care of interest, aptitude of the student, right? आगे देखो, it is a very good line. Therefore, when we say teacher has to play the role of a facilitator in the classroom, this means that the teacher should not be the king who controls the activities of the learner. You don't have to, control the activities of the learner, guys. You have to help them the way they are going. Okay. You don't have to, lose your temper. Be patient. Think that how the student is learning. Okay. From which way he is learning. On that way, you have to teach to the student. Right? Might be in 30 students, you have the class, 30 have a different style of learning. You should be aware of all the 30 different style of a learning, and you have to teach all the 30 styles which are convenience for the student to learn. Okay, so this is the role of a facilitator. Got it? So you have to become a facilitator. ये देखो यहाँ पे एक बनाया हुआ है अच्छा टॉपिक, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन ए ट्रेडिशनल टीचर एंड ए फैसिलिटेटर. इसको पढ़ना बड़ा अच्छा नोट है, राइट? ओके, अब ये देखो टीचिंग स्किल्स. यस, ये तो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, टीचिंग स्किल्स नीड टू बी ए फैसिलिटेटर, राइट? अब what should qualities, teaching skills, there is a need of a facilitator. Okay, number first is a prologue skill. Guys, you should know how to start your lesson. This is a call of skill of introducing a lesson. I have given one example. When you come in the class and directly say to the students, good morning, student, today I will teach you this subject. So guys, you are the persons who have killed the reasoning power of the student. You should know, first of all, how to, discuss. You should ask some of the questions. Okay, first of all, you have to arouse the learning among the students. This is called the prologue skill, right? Then the task activity management skill, right? You should have the ability to effectively plan, organize, and manage tasks. सारा कुछ आपके दिमाग में होना चाहिए, right? For example, I started, this topic to you. I didn't start from a first part, second part, third part. So basically, first I plan and I organize and I thought that how the student would learn. So, I have come to know that the majority part, it is talking about school education at the secondary level. So first, I will start with the school education at the secondary level or senior secondary level. And first, then I have to talk about historical perspective of secondary education and senior secondary education. At the school education at a secondary level and senior secondary level. So then I talked about that. Okay. Then, third, I thought this is important. Then I have to talk about globalizations of education. Okay, then I have to talk about curriculum because it was already in my mind now. This is called the plan karna, manage karna. From that way, you have to teach to the student, and that teaching is effective. Teaching is a systematic procedure. Okay, don't take lightly. Teaching is not. There is a one phrase now. Teaching is not everybody's cup of tea. Sometimes teacher is teaching in the class and student is saying that there is a one research has come na kya hota, what happens when the student goes back to the school home, then the parents ask from the student what you have learned, and student said that jo teacher thi, the English of the teacher was very effective. Then again, parents said, "What have you learned?" Then he said that the teacher was, the attire of the teacher was very good. Then parents again said that, "What have you learned?" Got it? So this is not a teaching. If you know a very good English, if you have a very good personality, from attire. So teaching is only effective if you have the knowledge of, teaching skills. If you have a sound and a sound knowledge of a philosophy, psychology, you are aware of many new skills, you are teaching to the students with the techno pedagogical competences, then guys your teaching becomes effective, right? So task activity management skills, then captivating skill. देखो ये स्किल होना चाहिए एज ए फैसिलिटेटर. क्या है स्किल ये? This skill includes and holding the interest of the student to engage and motivate them to the actively participate. देखो एटलीस्ट हमें यहां से we have come to know at least, okay, if the student is not showing interest, so then the problem is not in the student, problem is in the teacher or principal, because they don't have that skill. You would be agree with me. It is very easy to blame the other person, but we have to work on ourselves, right? Interpersonal communication skills, you are aware of that, it is a easy. Exploratory questioning skill or exposition skill, ये बड़े important है guys. Exposition skills क्या होता है? This skill includes a full and clear explanation of content, subject with facts and the reason behind it. ये always तब आएगा when you will start making notes by yourself. Okay. So every day you have to work, guys. Teacher is not a teacher if he is not learner first. He or she is not learner first. So you have to become learner, right? As the Tagore has said that a lamp can never light to another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. Means teacher should be a learner first. आप सो भी रहे हो ना तो लर्निंग चलती रहनी चाहिए, right? Okay, what I have to teach to the student in the next class, this is your basically main thing. Observation skills, you are aware of that. Organizations, evaluative skills. तो okay guys, ये हमने फिर we have already finished our all the 9, ठीक है, questions. Okay, अब now syllabus को देखो. ये need and importance of a school education we are discussed, है ना? Global perspective of school education we discussed. Institutions level structures क्या होगा we have discussed. अब ये 5th और 6th भी we have discussed. Curriculum and co-curricular activities, right? और here हम अपने use of ICT in teaching and method of teaching, एक आधा topics है जो नहीं discuss हुआ तो you can learn from the book also. This is the very simple, right? और then फिर teaching aids, और ये last में आप देखो role of teacher as a facilitator of learning. Okay. So thank you so much for this class. We have covered each and every topic according to the syllabus, and we have also covered all the 9 questions, and all last year paper we have already discussed, right guys? So now you start preparing yourselves. Thank you so much guys for this exam preparation class of semester 3rd paper 1. Thank you so much.